Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather to explore a profound truth that has been spoken of in Scripture, whispered through the ages, and revealed to those who seek the divine within. God speaks through imagination, through dreams, visions, and the quiet knowing that stirs within our souls. This truth is not merely philosophical, but the very key to unlocking the infinite power that resides within each of us. The greatest secret of existence is that imagination is not separate from the divine. It is the divine in action. Every word spoken within, every image vividly held in the mind, every assumption impressed upon the subconscious is a conversation with God. The world outside is but a mirror, faithfully reflecting back the beliefs, assumptions, and convictions held within. To understand this is to hold the key to creation. For the voice of the divine is not heard in the noise of the outer world, but in the silence of one's own being. From the beginning of time, man has sought God in the heavens, in rituals, in sacred texts. Yet the answer has always been the same. The kingdom is within. There is no power outside of consciousness, no force shaping the world apart from the assumptions held within. When one closes the eyes and imagines, they are stepping into the sacred space where reality is formed. What is imagined with conviction, what is persistently assumed to be true, must become fact in the external world. This is not a philosophy to be debated, but a law to be lived. The moment one accepts this truth, life ceases to be a series of random events and becomes a deliberate act of creation. The inner conversation, the repeated thoughts, and the feelings attached to them dictate the experiences of life. Every moment spent dwelling on limitation, on fear, on lack, is a prayer unknowingly offered, for what is believed in the silence of the mind is what shall come to pass. But when imagination is directed with intention, when the voice within is aligned with the highest good, the world bends to reflect the vision held within. To assume the feeling of already being the person one wishes to be is to align with divine power. There is no need to beg, no need to wait, for creation is finished. All possibilities already exist. The task is only to select the desired state and dwell within it until it becomes reality. Throughout history, those who have achieved greatness understood this secret. They saw not with the eyes of the flesh, but with the eyes of imagination. They knew that what is seen outwardly is only the result of what has already been accepted inwardly. The unseen is the cause, and the seen is only the effect. This is why faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. To have faith in the unseen is to trust that imagination is the voice of the divine, calling forth that which has already been decreed within. When one truly grasps this, the need for struggle dissolves. There is no need to fight against circumstances, no need to chase after desires. Instead, one only needs to enter the state desired within imagination and live from it. If wealth is desired, one must assume the feeling of already being wealthy. If love is longed for, one must feel as though it is already present. To the world, this may seem foolish, but to those who understand the law, it is the only way creation works. The outer world must rearrange itself to reflect the assumption held within. The voice of God is not heard in thunder or in fire, but in the quiet certainty of knowing. It is the whisper of truth that speaks in imagination, the silent command that shapes destiny. To listen to this voice is to walk in faith, to trust that what is real in imagination is real indeed. Those who ignore it remain bound by the illusions of the senses, believing themselves to be victims of fate. But those who embrace it awaken to their true power, stepping into the realization that they and the divine are one. The world then becomes not a place of uncertainty, but a canvas upon which the inner vision is painted. Everything that is first existed in thought. Every structure, every work of art, every invention was once nothing more than an idea held in imagination. If this is true of the past, then it is equally true of the future. What is imagined today will be lived tomorrow. The only question is whether one will create consciously or allow the outer world to dictate their state. The wise understand that there is no greater voice, no higher authority than the imagination within. It is there that all things begin, and there that all things are shaped. The secret is to assume the best, to persist in the desired state, and to trust that what is held in imagination must come to pass. For imagination is not separate from God. It is God speaking, calling forth reality from the unseen. Every night, as the body rests and the conscious mind fades into sleep, the deeper self speaks. The images, scenarios, and emotions experienced in dreams are not random. They are glimpses into the unseen workings of the subconscious mind. The world within, the world of assumption and belief, takes shape in dreams before it manifests in waking life. Just as a seed planted in the dark soil must grow before it reaches the surface, so too must every assumption and belief first be expressed in dreams before it hardens into reality. Those who understand this truth no longer dismiss their dreams as meaningless, but instead view them as sacred messages revealing the state they truly occupy. The subconscious mind does not judge, nor does it question. It simply accepts what is impressed upon it and brings forth experiences in accordance with those impressions. Dreams serve as a preview of what is to come, a reflection of what has been accepted as true, whether consciously or unconsciously. If one's dreams are filled with fear, struggle, or failure, it is a clear sign that such states have been impressed upon the deeper mind. Likewise, if dreams are filled with success, peace, and fulfillment, they indicate that these states have been accepted and are in the process of becoming reality. To change the dream is to change the assumption, and to change the assumption is to change the life. Many have experienced prophetic dreams, moments where an event or encounter seen in sleep later unfolds in waking life with striking accuracy. This is not coincidence, but the natural expression of the law. What is deeply felt and assumed within must find a way to manifest outwardly. Dreams often reveal the path that has been set in motion by belief. If one repeatedly dreams of limitation, it is a call to awaken, to become aware of the beliefs shaping one's world, and to consciously assume a higher state. Just as one would not leave a garden untended, allowing weeds to grow unchecked, so too must one be mindful of the assumptions planted in the subconscious. To harness the power of dreams is to recognize them as the bridge between the inner world of assumption and the outer world of experience. Before sleep, the final thoughts held in mind set the course for both dreams and waking reality. Those who impress their subconscious with thoughts of abundance, love, and success will see these reflected not only in their dreams but in their lives. The wise do not leave this to chance. They use the moments before sleep to deliberately shape their reality, knowing that the unseen world of the mind is the true cause of all that appears. Visions are glimpses of fulfillment. To see something clearly in the mind, to feel its reality before it has taken form, is not imagination in the ordinary sense. It is vision. These glimpses of fulfillment, these flashes of what could be, are not fantasies, but previews of what is possible. Every great achievement, every miraculous transformation began first as a vision held in the unseen realm of consciousness. What one sees inwardly with faith and conviction must externalize in due time, for the outer world is nothing more than a reflection of the inner state. Visions are not reserved for the few, nor are they gifts given at random. They come to all who are willing to see beyond appearances, who are willing to trust the unseen more than the seen. When a vision arises within, it is not to be dismissed as mere wishful thinking. It is to be accepted as a divine insight, a glimpse into a future that is already real in the unseen. The only requirement is faith, the unwavering belief that what is seen within must be made manifest. Those who hold to their vision, regardless of outer circumstances, will see it unfold in ways that seem miraculous to the world, but are simply the natural workings of the law. Doubt is the only enemy of vision. The moment one begins to question whether what is seen within is real, the power of the vision weakens. The world of the senses may suggest otherwise. Conditions may appear unchanged. Yet those who understand the truth do not rely on sight alone. They walk by faith, knowing that what is imagined vividly and felt deeply will become reality. They persist in their vision, knowing that it is the evidence of things unseen, the seed of creation waiting to bloom. When a vision is received, it must be nurtured. It must be lived in imagination as though it were already real. The feeling of fulfillment must be accepted as present, not future. This is the secret of all great manifestations, to assume the state desired now, to feel its reality so completely that it must take form. Time is not the determining factor. Belief is. The one who sees their vision as already accomplished, who refuses to waver in doubt or hesitation, will see it unfold in perfect order. The world may call it luck, chance, or coincidence, but those who understand the law know otherwise. Nothing happens by accident. Everything seen outwardly first existed in the mind of someone who dared to believe. The choice is always present, to accept what the senses dictate or to trust in the unseen vision. Those who master this truth shape their reality with intention, knowing that the visions held within are not mere illusions, but divine revelations waiting to be claimed. There is a quiet, unwavering voice within every individual that speaks without words, guiding them beyond logic and reason. It is the voice of inner knowing, the direct communication of the divine within. Unlike the external noise of the world, which shifts with opinions and circumstances, this inner knowing is absolute. It does not argue, nor does it need justification. It simply is. The moment one learns to trust this voice, life becomes effortless. The struggle of seeking answers outside oneself dissolves, for all truth is already present within. This inner knowing often appears as a sudden realization, an unshakable certainty that something must be, even when the senses suggest otherwise. It is the feeling of being called toward a direction without understanding why. It is the conviction that a desire is already fulfilled, despite all evidence to the contrary. To those who rely only on logic, this may seem irrational, but to those who have experienced it, there is no doubt. It is the deepest form of faith, faith not in something external, but in the divine voice within. The world teaches people to doubt themselves, to seek validation from others, to measure truth by what can be seen and proven. But truth is not found through external confirmation, it is known from within. The great figures of history who changed the world did not rely on the approval of others. They trusted their inner knowing, even when it defied convention. They moved with certainty, unaffected by doubt, because they understood that the unseen world of belief and assumption is what shapes reality. To cultivate inner knowing, one must silence the distractions of the outer world. Stillness is the key. In the quiet moments, when the mind is free from doubt and fear, the truth is revealed. It does not come through force or effort, but through surrender. Through allowing the deeper self to speak, the more one listens, the clearer this voice becomes. Those who ignore it remain trapped in confusion, always looking outward for guidance. But those who trust it move with an unshakable confidence, knowing that they are in perfect alignment with the divine. Inner knowing is the source of all true manifestation. Before something is seen, it must first be known to be real. The moment one accepts a desire as already fulfilled within, it is done. The world may take time to catch up, but the outcome is inevitable. Reality must conform to the truth held in consciousness. To doubt this is to delay the fulfillment, but to trust without wavering is to bring it forth with certainty. The greatest power is not in external action, but in the quiet, unwavering conviction that what is imagined and felt is already real. Assumption shapes experience. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of the assumptions held within. Life does not happen to an individual, it happens through them. What is assumed to be true, whether consciously or unconsciously, will be reflected in experience. This is the law by which all things come into being. It is not a question of whether it works. It is always at work. The only question is whether one is using it deliberately or allowing the world to dictate their assumptions. Most people assume based on what they see, believing that their circumstances determine their state of mind. But this is an illusion. The reverse is true. State of mind determines circumstances. To assume oneself to be poor, unloved, or incapable is to unknowingly create those very conditions. To assume oneself to be successful, loved, and powerful is to set in motion the events that will confirm it. The law does not discriminate, it simply fulfills whatever is impressed upon the subconscious mind. To change experience, one must first change assumption. It is not enough to wish for something different. One must assume the new state to be already real. This is not about forcing belief, but about choosing where to dwell in consciousness. If one wishes to experience abundance, they must assume the feeling of already being abundant. If one desires love, they must assume the feeling of already being loved. The world outside has no choice but to reflect the inner conviction. This is why imagination is the key. What is imagined consistently and felt deeply becomes the reality one lives. It is not enough to think about change. It must be embodied in feeling and assumption. The subconscious mind responds only to what is felt as real. A fleeting thought holds no power, but a persistent assumption, impressed with conviction, is unstoppable. To assume correctly is to create effortlessly. The wise do not react to circumstances. They assume the state they desire and let the world conform to it. Persistence in the unseen brings the seen. The moment a desire is assumed to be real, it exists in the unseen. But to bring it into the world of form, persistence is required. Most people waver, allowing doubt and external conditions to shake their conviction. They plant the seed of assumption, but then uproot it with fear and uncertainty. The secret to true creation is unwavering persistence in the unseen, no matter what the outer world suggests. Everything that appears in life first existed in imagination. The greatest mistake is to judge reality based on what is presently visible. The present is nothing more than a reflection of past assumptions. It has no power over what is to come. The wise understand that persistence is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. To hold an assumption despite all contradictions is to guarantee its manifestation. The outer world may resist at first, but it must yield to the inner reality that is sustained with conviction. Doubt is the only thing that delays manifestation. The moment one questions whether their assumption is real, they create obstacles. But those who persist, who remain faithful to their inner vision, see their desires unfold with precision. Time is not a factor. The only factor is belief. Some things manifest instantly, while others take time. But the law never fails. The only question is whether one will persist long enough to see it through. Persistence is not effort, it is trust. It is the quiet confidence that what has been assumed must come to pass. It does not require struggle, nor does it require external validation. It requires only the refusal to waver. The world will always test faith, presenting circumstances that appear contrary to the assumption held within. But those who understand the law do not react. They remain steadfast, knowing that the world must change to reflect their inner state. This is the secret to all great achievements, all miraculous transformations. It is not action that changes the world, but the persistence of assumption. To assume, to persist, and to remain unmoved by appearances is to wield the greatest power known to man. The world is shaped not by force, but by the unseen convictions held within. The wise do not chase after results. They live from the end, knowing that what is real in imagination is real indeed. The world is not shaped by idle wishes or empty affirmations. It is shaped by the deep, unquestioned feelings that reside within. Every experience, every event, and every relationship is a direct reflection of the dominant emotional state held in consciousness. The mind may entertain countless thoughts throughout the day, but it is the feelings attached to those thoughts that determine what will manifest in the external world. Thought without feeling is powerless, but feeling is the life force that brings ideas into form. To feel something deeply is to accept it as real. The subconscious mind does not differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. It simply responds to the emotional state it is impressed with. If one feels abundant, even when external conditions suggest lack, they will inevitably experience abundance. If one feels loved, regardless of circumstances, love will be drawn into their life. But if one feels anxious, unworthy, or doubtful, those emotions will harden into reality. The secret to true creation lies in mastering the ability to generate and sustain the feeling of the desired state. It is not necessary to struggle to change external conditions. The only work required is inner work, the work of assuming the right feeling. If something is desired, one must move beyond mere intellectual acceptance and feel the truth of already possessing it. This is not about pretending or forcing belief. It is about embodying the emotion of fulfillment so fully that the world has no choice but to reflect it. The outer world is only a mirror. It cannot project anything except what is first impressed upon it from within. Many people attempt to manifest their desires while still feeling the lack of them. They say they want success, but they feel unsuccessful. They claim to seek love, but they feel lonely. The subconscious does not respond to words, it responds to the dominant feeling state. The moment one shifts from wanting something to feeling as if it is already theirs, the process of manifestation begins. The key is to hold this feeling unwaveringly, without concern for how or when it will come to pass. The feeling itself is the guarantee of its reality. Faith in the unseen is the bridge to the seen. The world teaches people to believe only in what they can see, touch, and measure. But true creation does not operate from the seen, it originates in the unseen. Everything that has ever existed first began as an idea, a vision, an assumption that was held with faith. Faith is not blind optimism. It is the unwavering certainty that what is imagined is already real. It does not waver in the face of appearances, because it understands that what is visible now is merely a reflection of past beliefs, not a limitation on what is to come. Faith is the foundation upon which all manifestations rest. Those who lack faith remain trapped in the cycle of reacting to the external world, never realizing that they are the ones creating it. They look to circumstances to dictate what is possible, never understanding that circumstances are only the shadows cast by their inner assumptions. The wise do not wait for proof before believing. They believe first, and the world conforms to their conviction. To develop faith in the unseen, one must practice dwelling in the state of the fulfilled desire. This means living internally as if the desire has already been realized. It means thinking, speaking, and acting from the place of knowing rather than hoping. There is no room for doubt, for doubt only delays the inevitable. Faith must be absolute, not partial. The moment one fully accepts the reality of their assumption, without contradiction, the process of manifestation is set into motion. This is why those who possess great faith seem to move through life effortlessly. They do not struggle against circumstances, nor do they concern themselves with obstacles. They understand that the unseen reality is already complete, and that in due time it will be made visible. They do not beg, they do not plead, they assume, and they trust. Faith is the bridge that transforms the invisible into the visible, the imagined into the tangible. It is the most powerful force in creation, and it belongs to all who dare to wield it. Imagination is the creative power of God. The world is not separate from the imagination, it is a product of it. Everything that exists, from the grandest inventions to the simplest human interactions, first began as an idea. The power that shapes nations, births revolutions, and transforms lives is the power of imagination. It is not a passive faculty meant only for idle daydreaming. It is the very force through which reality is molded. It is the one who controls their imagination controls their destiny. Imagination is limitless. It is not bound by past experiences, present circumstances, or future uncertainties. It transcends time and space, allowing one to create freely without restriction. The only limit to what can be imagined is the limit imposed by belief. Those who imagine boldly, without doubt, inevitably bring their visions to life. Those who fear and hesitate remain trapped in a cycle of repeating the past. The secret is to use imagination deliberately, to assume the reality of what is desired with full conviction, knowing that what is held in imagination must come to pass. Every great spiritual teacher, every enlightened master has pointed to this truth in different ways. They have all taught that the kingdom of heaven is within, that belief shapes experience, that as one thinks in their heart, so shall they be. But the world has conditioned people to look outside themselves for answers, never realizing that the power to create is already within them. The imagination is the divine creative force, the means by which the unseen becomes seen. To disregard it is to remain powerless, but to master it is to wield the power of creation itself. Imagination must not be used carelessly. Every idle thought, every casual assumption is a seed planted in the subconscious, and all seeds must bear fruit. If one imagines fear, failure, or lack, they unknowingly bring those conditions into their experience. But if one imagines success, love, and abundance, and holds that vision unwaveringly, they create a world that reflects their inner certainty. The world does not shape imagination. Imagination shapes the world. The greatest mistake people make in manifesting their desires is thinking that they must strive to attain them. They place their desires in the future, always reaching, but never arriving. But true creation does not work this way. The key is not to want something, but to assume it is already done. To live from the end is to embody the state of the fulfilled desire, here and now, without waiting for external confirmation. To live from the end is to walk as if the desire is already realized. It is to think, feel, and act from the place of having, rather than hoping. Those who live from the end do not ask when their desire will appear, nor do they question if it will happen. They know it is already done. The external world is simply catching up to the inner reality that has already been established. Living from the end requires discipline, for the senses will always tempt one to revert to doubt. The world may present evidence that contradicts the assumption, but this is only the delay between planting the seed and seeing the harvest. The wise do not waver. They hold their inner vision firmly, knowing that it must be externalized. They do not concern themselves with how or when. It is enough to know that it is. Those who live this truth move through life with confidence and ease. They do not react to circumstances, for they understand that circumstances are fleeting, but their inner state is eternal. They do not beg or plead for change, for they know they are the operant power. To live from the end is to claim dominion over reality, to stand in the certainty that what is imagined is already real. The one who masters this principle holds the key to all creation, shaping life not by effort, but by the effortless assumption of what is already theirs. Persistence shapes reality. The world is not shaped by fleeting desires or momentary wishes. It bends to the persistence of a fixed state of consciousness. Whatever is consistently assumed and felt as true must be externalized. Many people give up before their assumptions take form, allowing doubt, impatience, or external conditions to dictate their belief. But persistence is the force that ensures the unseen becomes seen. It is not enough to imagine once and then return to old patterns of thought. The assumption must be maintained, unwavering, regardless of what the senses report. Persistence is the ability to remain faithful to the desired reality, even when external circumstances contradict it. The world is merely a reflection of past assumptions, and if one changes their inner state, but wavers in belief, the outer world will remain unchanged. The subconscious mind takes time to reorganize reality in accordance with a new assumption, and those who persist are the ones who see results. Every great achievement, every miraculous transformation has come from those who refuse to abandon their vision. They did not adjust to circumstances, they adjusted circumstances to their unwavering belief. To persist is to embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it becomes second nature. It is to live as if the new reality is already present, dismissing all evidence to the contrary as irrelevant. The mind may attempt to return to old patterns, but these must be consciously rejected. Every moment of doubt delays manifestation. True persistence means never entertaining any thought that contradicts the assumption of the desired state. It means training the mind to dwell only on that which one wishes to see materialized. Those who persist understand that reality is fluid, not fixed. The world is not something to react to, it is something to be shaped. Every day, every moment presents the opportunity to reaffirm the chosen assumption. This is not about effort or struggle, it is about conviction. The one who remains faithful to their vision, despite all opposition, is the one who sees it take form. Reality has no choice but to conform to the persistence of a sustained assumption. The realization that God speaks through imagination, dreams, visions, and inner knowing is the key to unlocking true power. The external world is merely a reflection of what is accepted within. By understanding that imagination is not fantasy but the blueprint of reality, one gains mastery over life. There is no separation between the divine and the self. God expresses through the mind, shaping experience according to belief. To transform life, one must persist in the assumption of their desired state, knowing that what is imagined with conviction must externalize. Doubt and fear only delay manifestation, while unwavering faith ensures fulfillment. The world does not change first. Consciousness changes first, and the world follows. By living from the awareness of already having what is desired, one moves beyond limitation, beyond effort, into effortless creation. The power is within, waiting to be claimed. Assume the highest, and reality will reflect it perfectly.